All right, finally to part 2 of our battery stuff. So we've gone through quite a few transformations. We've got all our batteries, we've taken them all out of the case. We've removed a bunch of them from these, from the housings that they're in. So they are now modules like this. So these are the modules I was talking about. So we had originally planned on doing like a 24 volt battery. So we were gonna do 3 of these in series, and there's going to be about 16 of them. Well, we started doing more research, and just like everything else, it changed. So now we plan on doing a 48 volt battery, which is actually 7 of these connected in parallel. And there will be, so there'll be 7 in parallel and then 7 in series. So it'll make about 50, just over 50 volts. So this is, we've kind of created a wiring sort of diagram, and I'll show a close-up of that. But what we're basically going to do is tie them all together, and then kind of hook the 7 big, we're going to make 7 of these, which is about this, into one big parallel battery, and then hook it in series with another 7, hook it in series with another 7 for 7 batteries. So we only had 48 modules, so we actually had to buy another one off of eBay. So I bought another module exactly like these from a 2014 Nissan Leaf. So now we have the 49 modules that are required. So we could have done 42 or buy one more, do 49. So we opted to do the 49. So the plan is this module will stay very similar to the way it is now. It's set up, it's 24 across. And so it's set up to sort of be on its side like this, and it has nice thick brackets on the side and is self-supporting and everything else. What we're going to do is build a bracket underneath. So that bracket underneath will actually be the base for this bracket. So the 2 batteries will be stacked on top of each other, and they'll be, the last 3 modules of this will hook in with a large gauge cable to the upper set of batteries. So we're busy building it today. It's finally part 2. It's been quite a few months, so we're excited to get going on it. So I'm taking off these nuts. See that? So now, see, that goes through. This whole battery will fall apart. See how it came apart?
Oh, yeah.
Can you hold the other side? Nope, got it. See how it's kind of falling apart? Okay. So now, see how these things hook in? So what we're going to have to do, shoot, this isn't going to work. Here's what I was planning on doing, is taking this out. Oh shoot, those are riveted in. That sucks. Those are riveted in. It's gonna be really hard. take that out. You see that?
Yep.
So, may have to go with plan B or C or whatever number we're on. So, all right, so we got the top battery or the top module reconfigured. And as you can see now it used to alternate red, black, red, black, red, black, because this battery from the factory came so that all of these modules were in series. So now we've put 7, we're gonna put 7 of them in parallel. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here. So this will make one battery. So what we're gonna do is we have this copper bus bar right here, and what we'll do is we'll cut a piece long enough and we'll hook all those together using copper bus bar. So it'll make it a little bit more solid, and we'll have a little bit more of a better connection. So there'll be a bus bar here and a bus bar here. This one might extend all the way over so that we connect positive to negative here to put these 7 modules in series. So here's another 7, and then here's our last 3, because we have 49 modules in 2 rows, so it doesn't divide very evenly. So we have 25 and 24. So 25 will be on the bottom. These 24 will be on the top. So we've got them all back together. It feels pretty solid. So we are going to work on the bottom module now to try to get it reconfigured. That one will be a little bit more challenging. There'll be a little bit more fabrication, so should be a little bit more fun. Alright, so we're a little bit further on the battery. We now have them configured the way we want. There are 25 of these modules on the bottom and 24 on the top, making 49 modules. So we'll have 7 of them tied in parallel. That is 7 tied with one copper bus bar across all the leads. And then those will be tied in series with 7 more. So there'll be 7 parallel modules with 7 of those being in series. So it should produce about 50, right around 50 volts. So it'll look to most things like a 48 volt battery. So to run 12 volt things, we will need to run a converter that changes those to 12 volts, but we'll go over that a lot later. So this is kind of the configuration that we're going to have them in. As you can see, they're all aligned correctly. They're 7, 7, 7, and then here's the 3 that are mated with these 4. So we'll have a cable that comes from here to here and then from here to make that one battery with 7 of these modules in parallel, just like the rest of them. So this is just kind of a mock-up. We're trying to measure things out, trying to see how it'll fit in the bay. We think it'll fit just fine. There's a little bar on the back. There's a little bracket that we want the back of this to sort of grab onto, and so to kind of keep it from, to keep it anchored to the wall, stuff like that. So that's what we're kind of in the process of building right now. So we're going to build all that stuff kind of out. We'll be welding some brackets and things like that, but alright, we're getting ready to cut the copper bus bar. We've got it measured out. We've got a cut list. We think we actually have enough, so we'll see.
There's one.
That's one. All right, so one done. The reason we're using a jigsaw is because we barely have enough copper. So the thinnest blade we have is actually on our jigsaw. So it only takes off about a 1/16 of an inch, whereas our chop saw takes off about maybe an eighth or closer to, yeah, probably an eighth or maybe even close to a quarter. I don't know. It's a lot wider though. So that's the reason we are using the thinner blade. So it looks like it's working out okay though. So we will get some holes drilled in it and get it attached and see if it works. Alright, so time to drill the holes. So Michelle's already kind of marked them all off, and time to kind of start doing the bus bars for them. We cut them all down, and so now it's time to start drilling them. Alright, so we got all the bus bars done. So the kids helped polish them and sand them off and generally cleaned them up. So they're nice and shiny. But we are going to go ahead and install these and make this whole module one big battery. So we'll show you what that looks like when we're done. Alright, so we've got the bus bars all drilled out, all tightened up, installed and everything, and so we're doing a quick voltage check just to make sure we wired up everything correctly. But as you can see, there's a split line here because we have 7 modules wired in parallel. So these all act as one giant battery that's 7 times the size of one of these. So to make things even further confusing, each one of these has 2 cells in series, 2 cells in parallel. So this middle bar here allows us to get to each of those 2 cells that are in series. So from here to here, we should have about 3.7 volts. Our batteries are currently at almost 4 volts, and then from here to here we should have again 4 volts. And now, so when we make this big connection here, we're actually hooking these batteries, these banks of batteries up in series. So if I measure across from here to here, I will actually have twice as much because it'll be this entire bank here. So it should be, what's that, 8, almost 16 volts across there. So as we can see, if we come here, this is positive, this is negative, and we look up here, 3.98. So if we continue that, we come here, 3.98 again. So if we come across this thing and then come up here, we're going to get, this is going to be negative. So this is going to be the positive, this is going to be the negative this time. So 3.98 again. So we do the same thing here, 3.98. Now if we come across these two, we'll actually get 16 volts. So there, 5.94. So it's the combination of all those batteries. So that whole thing comes in and then across these wires, because as I mentioned before, we have 49 batteries. So there's 25 on the bottom, 24 on top. So 3 here, 4 here to make that 7, and then again 7, 7, 7. So if we measure from the top one all the way down to here, we should get about 56 volts, and we do. It's 55.8 volts. So that should work more or less like a 48 volt battery. So that's how this works. So the reason we have the ones in the middle is to allow access to that middle cell. So there's 2 batteries actually, or actually there's 4, but there's 2 in series in here. So this middle bar allows us to balance across those. So when we get our BMS, each one of these copper wires will have 1 wire going to it. And so we should have, this is, I believe, 14 cells. So there's 7 in series. So we should have 14 wire, actually 15, because you need 1 to the negative, then 1 to every positive. And that will help to balance them out and maintain the charge between all of them, as well as monitor each of the big batteries to make sure that they don't go over, I think 4.2 volts is the maximum for these. We're probably going to tune it down so that it's like 4.15 volts or 4.1 volts. We haven't played with that yet, but we'll probably tune it so that it doesn't, so there's no way we can overcharge it, and then there's no way that we can run it so low that it damages these batteries. Because with lithium batteries, if you go below, I believe it's like 2.8 volts, I'll have to look it up, but there's a certain voltage that if you go below it, it starts to actually damage the battery. And you can't get any power out of them anyway from under there. So anyway, we're going to keep them well above that, and then make sure that they don't go above 4.2 volts. So this is the battery so far. We think it looks pretty cool. It's turned out really good. Drilling this many holes takes a long time if you guys are thinking about doing this. So it took us quite a while to drill them all out, and then my kids actually sanded and polished each one of the each one of the copper things. So that's why they look really cool and really nice. So anyway, that's our progress so far. Next is going to be trying to build some kind of support cradle for this thing to be able to fit it into the bus and make sure it doesn't slide around and stuff like that, and get it in its bay. So that's the next step.